Welcome, 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 everyone. And we are live here with Melvina Gray and my co host, Ellen Sutters from ESP Presents. And today's a special show. So I just started this new program called, our new show called Bookish Bites. And this is actually our first live for Bookish Bites. And this is something new and special that we're doing. And today we're going to be talking about PTSD, uh, the ins and out, well, not deep the ins and outs, but we're going to talking about what it's like coping with PTSD, not just for the person who has it, but also for the people who love them. So, welcome, Ellen. Thank you for being my co-host.
Thank
How are
you,
you doing today?
April. I'm doing great. Good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for having me. Also, I brought
Welcome,
our guest
Melvina.
here,
Yeah.
Melvina. Melvina Gray is here. I've known her for 10 years and been working with her for 3 years. Melvina, tell the folks about yourself and the backdrop of your book.
Okay, good evening to everyone. Again, my name is Melvina Gray, self published author of my book here, Combat Related PTSD, which is a true story that I wrote from my perspective. Before I penned my book, I worked in corporate America, in banking, and as a certified medical assistant for many, many years. I reside in Atlanta, Georgia, now for 42 years. The purpose of my story is to convey my life experiences and challenges living with my husband who struggled painfully with PTSD as a result of fighting on the battlefield in the Vietnam War. It also tells how the family struggled as well from the pain and suffering. It is my goal through my message in the book to help bring about awareness to others who may be living with someone who may have PTSD by helping them to recognize some of the signs and symptoms, also helping them to better understand their loved ones much better. I believe that anyone can fall a victim to PTSD from traumatizing experiences that life brings our way. I like to
Very
make a
true.
difference in others' lives. If I can just save someone else from going through all of what I went through, I will be happy that it happened, and my work will not be in vain.
Thank you, Melvina. I'll give it back
Thank
to.
you. Yes, thank you. So, my question is, how did you how did your husband cope with dealing with PTSD? How did he keep his sanity with dealing with PTSD?
Okay. Well, from my point of view, living with my husband, he tried very hard to keep his sanity coping with PTSD by loving and relying on God the best way he could. I really admired him for doing that. He was a very spiritual person. My husband had a certain area of our home where he would take his Bible and meditate at times, and most so when he was going through one of his PTSD episodes. By him doing that, I saw that it helped clear his mind some from the PTSD and keeping his sanity. Some of the times when my husband mentioned meditated in the Bible, it seems like it helped him to function a little bit better, which could range from one day to a few days. Well, of course, I used to thank God for those peaceful days. Prior to my husband's transition, his Bible was left on the nightstand in the bedroom. He had scriptures highlighted all through the entire Bible. It was left open on Romans chapter 1, which I assume that was his last time reading the Bible and highlighting the scriptures. All through the years, I have never closed it, opened it. I mean, it's open. It's open. I have never closed it. I never moved it. And I never read through any of the scriptures because I never got to that point to really read. It just did something to me, and I just couldn't do it. But it's still there, and it will always be there until the end of my time.
Mm.
Wow. Wow,
And
that's beautiful.
I look at it as a piece of art that he left. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of like like a time capsule. He's sealed in time. I could see
Yeah.
that. I could definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it was on Romans, you said? Which
Romans
verse was
chapter, he
highlighted? Do you
was,
remember?
no, I didn't look at the verses, but he has a lot of highlight
Yeah.
in there. But
Oh, that's big.
that was the last time he had his Bible open. And it was on it was in Romans chapter 1.
Mm.
And
Okay.
then, he had it highlighted all through the Bible was highlighted. So, he was a very powerful man in the Lord. He loved the
Yeah.
Lord, and that's the only thing kept him going
Mm.
most of the time.
Mhm.
Like I said, he would get his Bible and go to his particular area, and he'll get us out the way. He'll tell us to get out the way. You all go into another room or go on out the way, because I'm getting ready to read the Bible, meditate in the Bible. So we would respect him and do that.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it looks like when he did that, he's like having
Mm-hmm.
a new
Mhm.
attitude and acting good. But then after a day or so, it comes right back, haunting him
Yeah.
again. So,
Mhm.
and he just did what he had to do to try to keep his sanity.
Yeah. 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 A lot of people don't understand. Like, it's you look at him and he has, like I tell my boyfriend he's a veteran also dealing with PTSD. I say he came back home with all his appendages, right? he got he got
Right.
two arms, two legs, and you look at him and he's like this strong, healthy man.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think people really understand that there's still a large part of them that stays back there in that war.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to function in a day-to-day life is not as easy as it seems when they're used to being in combat. So
Well,
I can definitely, yeah,
well,
relate.
a lot of people, I heard a lot of people say, a lot of their loved ones went off to war and they came back a different way. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe
Yeah.
it's still happening now because they talk about it all the time. That,
Yeah.
they came back and now they're not the same. They have mental issues. And I read an article on PTSD a long time ago that states that you don't actually have to be in the war, but when you get drafted or either sign up to go on your own, it's
Mhm.
like you get stressed because you're going to either kill or be killed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that could put a lot of
Yeah.
stress on them.
Yeah, the normal person doesn't want to go out to kill somebody.
Right.
Um, but when they think like it's either them, it's either or,
Either
so you
or,
gotta fight. Yeah, you have to
either
fight.
or,
Yeah.
either or.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and
And it's
then
it's hard.
they come back, and a lot of
Hmm.
times when they're acting out, sometimes they're not aware of their behaviors. It takes
Oh.
someone else to see what's
Hmm.
going on in them. And if they see something is going on out of the ordinary, then, like I told a lot of people, I'm not a doctor, but I said just be careful of the signs and symptoms. And if you see where they're acting out,
Hmm.
outbursts and different things like that, try to get them the proper help, medical help, and as soon as you can. And I truly believe that would help tremendously.
Yes.
It does. It does. And
But
like
a lot of
everybody's
them be in
different.
denial. A lot of them would
Yeah.
most likely be in denial.
Hmm.
But
That's true.
you just have to keep pushing,
Yeah.
pushing them to seek the help that they may need.
It, it takes a lot of love. It takes a lot of love and patience.
It does. It does. It does. It does. God
Yeah, it
knows I
does.
knows I know that.
Mhm.
True.
Yes, it does. And prayer. Yeah.
It takes a
I
lot of
think
prayer.
I know for
It
me
takes
personally, if I wasn't praying, it'd probably be really bad here. Probably be
Yeah,
really, really bad.
prayer is the key. Prayer is the key.
Hmm.
But I in my book
Hmm.
is God is all through the book. I have God
Oh wow.
name all through this book.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell us, where can we buy your book? Can you hold it up a little bit more so they can see it? I know it's hard to. Yeah, there we go. It's a little bit better. And I'll also put a link. We'll put a link in the
Well,
comments.
to purchase a copy, go to my website, which is thewilliegracestory.com, and it's on Amazon as well.
Yep. Amen. Amen. So
And
I started reading your book. I'm still reading it. For me, I have to at times put it down because I'm going through. I know I relate deeply with your story.
Hmm.
So for me, sometimes I hit parts where I'm like, okay, I gotta walk away for a little bit.
Hmm.
I gotta
mm,
take a breather.
mm,
Yeah. So yeah, but I love your book. I love your story. It's very well written. It's really, I think it's really important for people to know. So
thank you.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so
I'm
true.
very happy to do it.
That's so
What was
true.
that?
I said, that's so true, April, because I've read her book not only just once, I read it twice. And when I put a second pair of eyes on it, and I start seeing more different things. And so when I tell folks about it, I let them know that there are some trigger warnings, there are some red flags, there are some oh no's, and there are some you should be out of there. But at the same time, just like Melvina say, she wouldn't tell people to stay or to go. It's your call. But
Yeah,
Melvina has chosen to stay there with her beloved husband and not leave him to chance. And it's an amazing story.
yeah, yes, yes. So, and then for me, like
Thank
on
you.
that, there's certain parts where I was just like, oh my gosh, run. But this is the thing, that how I look at it. Melvina, you're a pioneer in
Thank
Yes.
you.
a spouse dealing with someone with PTSD, right?
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Nobody knew how to deal with it, how to handle it, what was going on. So, and like, so when you look at it that way, it's like this is because of you and because of your sacrifice. People like me know and understand better PTSD, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. You made a
Mhm.
sacrifice, not just for your husband, but for a lot of other people dealing with people who they love that's come back, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's been in combat. It helps us to better understand how they see the world, how they're handling it, because you actually documented the first cases of it. So I think that's
Right.
like a very powerful thing.
So true.
And
Yes.
that is, yeah, it's very, and I think nowadays you have combat PTSD, but there's also people getting PTSD from other situations that has nothing to do with the military.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the
But
key.
yeah,
That's what I stress. I
yeah,
stress that as well.
yeah,
That in some of my speaking, I you don't necessarily have to go to war, be in the war, fighting combat. You
yeah.
can any traumatizing experience
Mm-hmm.
can bring on PTSD
Yeah,
and other ailments. But you actually anyone, and I think I said that earlier. Anyone can fall a victim to PTSD by being traumatized and what life's bring our way.
yes,
Anyone from bad experience in life in all kinds of ways.
That is so
But
true.
it's not just for military. It's for anybody.
Mm-hmm. And so I've learned too in Melvina's book. I can ask both of you guys. Um, Melvina's book is the first book that I've read that was not informational only. In the back of her book, she does have where you can reach out some things and some different help support. But her book is the first book that I've read from an account or perspective of the wife who's actually in the relationship and navigating
yes,
to her readers. Like you said, April, being that sacrifice, not only for herself, but to show others and to love her husband unconditionally. And
yeah,
Melvina, we spoke about this before. She didn't treat him as what was going on. She still gave him that love. She selflessly put herself in situations that she protected the whole family. And she did talk
right,
about that
yes,
she had
Mm,
to push through her feelings. And sometimes it might be, why would you do that? But it was all about peace, love, and making sure my husband know I love him and I know he loved me too. But he may not show it as others may see it. So that was what I seen in her book. And like I say, it's an amazing book. If anyone out there would get it, it's an amazing book.
thank you.
and,
You
and see, you brought up something. I'm sorry, Melvina, you had something to say? Oh, no.
No.
Well, you just reminded me of something. Like, for me, one thing I learned from my experience, so speaking from my experience, the emotions that they tend to show very well is anger and guilt, and
Hmm.
like it's always normally like kind of, I want to say negative more things, but so when they show love, it actually comes out in more of a form of anger. Like, why did you do that? You know.
Hmm. Hmm.
um, and for me, like when I was dealing in the early stages of learning, what's really like, I didn't understand, but I came to understand. Like I looked at it this way for me, and this is where I can also relate with Melvina. But this is how for me is, I looked at it as he sacrificed himself at a young age because he started. I think his father signed him up at like 17, and he
Hmm.
got his first deployment was at 19. So he started really young, and he was in the army for 15 years. He did four tours.
Mm.
So my thing is like he sacrificed himself for us back home, for
mm-hmm.
the freedoms that we have today, the privileges that we have today. He sacrificed himself from a young age. So I looked at it as maybe it's time for somebody to sacrifice for him. Maybe it's time for somebody to say, "Hey, I'm gonna have his back." So
Mm.
that kind of like in the early stages, that's where I gained my strength from. Don't get me wrong, I get frustrated. I'm not perfect. There's
I
days
know.
where at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, we didn't kill each other. This is a victory. We're not on the
Oh,
news,
Mm.
so we're good.
but one thing that April brought out,
Mm.
April said in the beginning, if you remember her saying that when people come back from the military, they may have all of their limbs, but what we don't see is that hidden scar, that scar that is mental.
Mhm.
Uh, Being a military wife, our husbands or our spouses, whichever one, go out to, and in our case, we're Navy, they go out to sea or deploy. We hope that they come back like themselves,
Mm.
but we don't know. And so we may see it as they came home, they were safe,
Yeah.
society, but then the spouse can say, he didn't come back the same. I lost something,
Yeah.
Mm,
Not the
you know,
same man. Yeah.
something that you don't see, but I've lost something.
mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're
And
right.
I really feel, I'm sorry, Amelia. I really feel for those because they knew their husband before he got deployed, and then when he came back. So it's for me, I never knew him before he was deployed.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the only one I know. But I
Mm-hmm.
think about women or spouses who they didn't they married this one person and they got somebody else. And I
Hmm.
was like, that must it's a whole nother level to it,
Mm,
you know? Yeah.
mm.
So
Yeah, I
true.
agree.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's
So
something else.
so it is something else. Yeah. So we can get your book on KDP and your
Oh,
website,
the
the
WillieGrayStory.com.
williegraystory.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
And
And
on Amazon and Kate
yeah,
and the ebook on Kindle.
Kindle, okay. And it's in ebook and it's in print.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Ellen, did you have
And
any?
you have
Oh,
the website and on the
yes, the
website
website is on the bottom.
if you purchase the book off the website itself, you can get an autographed copy. Just follow the links and it'll take you there where they can order one that is autographed directly from me,
Yes.
or either just Amazon.
Hmm.
But
And yes,
they'll find everything on the WillieGrayStory.com.
And
if you mhm, go
you
ahead,
asked me,
sorry.
you asked me if I had anything, and yes, Melvina on her website, it shows, and I've done it yesterday as a trial. It shows that you can on her website, you press contact me, you can press that, right, fill out the prompt information, and then you can also sign her guest book, and she will get it, and then she will respond back to you. So I thought that was something lovely. But I wanted to
Yes.
also ask Melvina, what would you like for those that are listening now, and those that would listen in replay? What would you like for your takeaway to be to those who are listening?
Well, so my takeaway is to be able to understand if you're living with someone who has PTSD, try to understand them better and look out for those signs and symptoms and behaviors, actions. Look out for all of those things. And if you see where they're acting out and feeling something is not right with them, I ask that you just try to push them to get help, no matter if they're in denial. Because see, sometimes they're not aware of their behavior. They'll be doing things and going through episodes and all of that, but sometimes they don't realize what they're doing. They're not aware of that. So, because I used to ask my husband at times after he went through one of his episodes, about a day or two later, when I see him calm down a little bit, I ask him, and I'll tell him what he did or what he said, how he was acting. And he'll get upset with me and say, no, he didn't do that. He didn't say that. So that told me that he wasn't aware. And you may find that in some of your loved ones. And just try to deal with it the best way you can
Hmm.
and try to find out what's going on.
Thank
And
you,
you
Mel.
yeah, you well, I know we're trying to end, but she brought up a really good point. But
Yes.
yeah, I definitely I experienced that at the beginning. I didn't I thought I was crazy. I'm like, but I thought I heard you say XYZ. He's like, no, I never said that.
Pardon
Yeah,
me?
it's real. Yeah,
Okay, yes,
very
it
true.
is.
Yeah, it is very
Yes,
true.
it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very, very true.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you for being a pioneer. Thank you for documenting your experience because you're
You're
educating a
welcome.
lot of other men and women, spouses, and it's even just loved ones, mothers too. And
Mm-hmm.
they can kind of understand why this child is not the child that they gave birth to. you know,
Exactly.
somebody else
Exactly.
came back. Yeah. So there's a
Exactly.
lot of people that you help by documenting this. So I'm
Thank you.
praying that your book goes far and wide and it can reach all who need that message. That's my prayer.
Thank
Um,
you.
and I know some people, and I know that you say that some people shouldn't, that you don't tell people to stay or leave. And I completely agree
No,
with
you
you.
don't. You
It has
don't.
to
You
be
don't.
your choice. Yeah, it
You
has to be
don't.
your choice. Yeah,
All depends on the situation. I never well in my book and in my speaking and whatnot, I
yeah,
always tell them don't I could not tell them to stay in the situation and I couldn't tell them to leave
yeah,
because all of us have certain situations. So yours may not be like mine might not be like yours. I said right?
yeah,
But we just have to try to do the best we can and
yeah.
but you know if you need to leave.
Mm-hmm.
You
Wow.
know, if
Anyone will
You know.
know if they
like,
need to
yeah,
leave.
yeah.
Anyone
If
will
it
know if
becomes
they
too
need to
much for
leave.
you, yeah,
Hmm.
you sometimes, you
You
gotta
know you'll
gracefully bow
leave.
out if it becomes too much. Yeah. Or
Exactly.
if it becomes very violent. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Those are
violent.
my own too. Yeah. Because
Yeah,
you gotta
violent
you gotta
is not good.
no, and you got to take your mental health into consideration. So sometimes it may not that it's be violent, but it's like you've reached the end of your mental health stability
Hmm.
in that situation,
Exactly.
and maybe, but yeah, it's just something that sometimes you just need to you need to take a step back. You know,
Exactly.
yeah, it's okay. Like I learned because I used to be that I gotta have the last word. I remember.
Well, see, I couldn't get my point across. I couldn't get my point across. If I tried to, he would get in an outrage
Yep,
and when I try harder and harder, I'm saying like, I need to tell you this. This is the way it's supposed to be, or whatever. You don't want to hear it. He had to
they don't
be
want
the
to hear it.
one that's always right. And I just
Last
step
word.
back when he starts, and I can't do it. I just step back and let him have his way. Because if I didn't, well, it would escalate the situation worse.
It would have
Mm-hmm.
got bad. It would
Yeah,
have gotten really bad.
escalate the
Yeah,
situation really bad.
yeah. It's not worth it.
No, no. So I learned to stay away. And that's
Yeah,
one thing I want like people to know. If they have a loved one that's raging and every little thing, try to move to another location and let them continue to do what they're doing. You get out
yeah.
the way.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's what we had to learn to do too.
Yeah.
Just get out the way.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I learned
Yeah.
that. Silence is okay. Yeah, that's what I learned. Silence is okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
Are there
thank
any
you for being on my show. I'm sorry, Ellen, what's that?
questions out there from where you can see
Oh,
it asking any
let,
questions? Thing?
let me see.
Excuse me.
Author Trey Real says, I salute you, ladies. Thank you. She said, wow, what a great perspective. Let me say, hi, Author Shakoya Johnson. So no questions, just just support, which is
Great,
beautiful. We thank you
great.
for the support.
thank you so much. You're welcome.
Yeah. Tina, we hope to see you back on the live. And for those who are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, um, April and I, we did release. They were audio that we released, and April did a wonderful job. And of course,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Melvina, for allowing us to release those videos. You guys look around, Google or on Facebook, Instagram, those platforms, and you can see some more videos or audios with some video clips that April mastermind to put together that go with the audio. Thank you for that. That is amazing. So you guys take
Thank, Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank both of you.
Thank you.
And if anybody has any questions about PTSD or dealing with a loved one that has PTSD, please go to the williegraystory.com and contact Melvina. She'll be happy to talk
Yeah.
to you and share with you her experience. And if there's any, she's very great with she has the knowledge for this, so this is the best person to go to. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Did she give her email address? I think she did.
oh,
Or did
did
you
you give your
want?
email?
Did you
Okay,
want?
I can. It's
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Melvina 312 at yahoo.com.
I'm gonna write it in the comments.
Oh,
Melvina
okay. Melvina 312
at
at yahoo.com.
yeah. Okay. There we go. Hopefully I
And
did that
thank you.
right.
That's
They,
April. And again, thank you for saying yes, Melvina. We hope to do another live video, but certainly look for those audio videos, guys. And thank
Okay.
yes.
you. Thank you,
Okay.
April.
Thank you
Buy
all
her
so much.
book.
Thank you all so much, April and
You're
Ellen.
welcome.
Okay.
And you want us to stay put.
Yes.
Pardon me? You want
Yes.
us?
Stay on. We're gonna have our
Oh.
after hours chat. So thank you everyone for tuning in. This is Bookish Bites, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.